Very good afternoon to you and welcome to iRadio 1 o'clock news bulletin. First, here are the headlines. The inspector of police in Nimli town says 4 people were killed in the recent cattle-related incident in Jebel Jalay area. Some soldiers at Mapel Training Center in Western Barkazal State are calling on the government to send them home to cater for their families since their graduation is taking long. And President Salva Kiir has blamed the failure of the country to prosper on the 5-year conflict. These stories and more coming to you in this news bulletin with me, Yar Ajakdeng, and now the news in detail. The inspector of police in Nimli town says 4 people were killed in recent cattle-related incident in Jalay area. Major David Casimiro says 3 of the victims were elderly men. Casimiro also confirmed a 16-year-old girl was raped in Mogali. Early this week, authorities in Mogali Payam in eastern Equatoria's Magwi County decried displacement of the natives due to continued harassment allegedly by herders in Mogali area. In a written statement on Monday, the area leaders said that the residents experienced unprecedented violence, including looting of their properties. They noted that the settlers went on to rampage immediately after the recent visit of the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Deng Dao, and the UN agencies to the area. The Inspector of Police in Nimli Town says the security situation is calm in the area. Major David Casimiro spoke to iRadio this morning from Nimli Town.
وده أمنية ما بتفعل لكن في الحرب في المادة ده كان في مشكلة تنهب أفكار ووصل لمرحلة إنه في مشاكل في أطراف في مشاكل بتاع الأساليب الناس بتاع الكتب كده ده مشاكل في أولئك في حتى بيقولوا مقالة واسمه من حد ما يتصل في الدنيا عمره 16 سنة لكن اللي حصل في حتة ثاني والمشاكل اللي ما حصل في حتة ثانية اللي ما حصل في جيلين شال أفكار من جيلين خدوا فيه أربع نفر كده لكن طبعا من زمان ما جاب لنا حد هذا بالضبط كده ما دون العدد الكلي يتلقى النعوة وناس الكسلان ده ونرجعهم 4 نفر الآن جابهم في مشرع إنه إحنا شفناه ولا ناس كبار أصغر واحد 30 سنة في 75 في 50 في 52 سنة ناس كبار ولا ده في نولة لكن هو طبعا في دائرة بتاع نولة لكن طبعا في حتة بيقولوا جيلة.
Previously, herders and the host community clashed in the areas of Abara, Ayi, Kit, Agorosomboro in Magwi County, leaving scores dead and hundreds of others displaced. This is despite the 2017 presidential order instructing cattle keepers from the Greater Jonglei to move out of Equatorial region. Some soldiers at Mapel Training Center in Western Barkazal State are calling on the government to send them home to cater for their families since their graduation is taking long. They say they have been at the center since 2019 and tired of government's promises to graduate them. The soldiers are also in need of food and clean drinking water. They are part of the forces assembled at various military training centers across the country. The soldiers, mainly from the opposition, were assembled in Greater Equatoria, Upper Nile and Barkazal region. Recently, the peace parties unified the command structure to pave way for the gradation of the unified forces. But some of them in Mapel Training Center site said the process has taken long. They shared their frustrations with iRadio on the Dawn Show this morning.
يال بتاعنا تعبانين في بيوت وأنينا تعبانين في مكة أنت عسكري وأنت قاعد في مكة تبغى تعمل بتاعك ولكن قوة تعمل ما يكون تجاتين ما يكون بالجو وما يكون بالأكل وفلس فوق لأن أكل ده يعني أنا متعين بوت لا ما في أكل ما في أكل أنت لو جيت شفت هذا ما في أكل أنينا ده متعين أكل
أنا من ضمن الناس اللي تدرس المدينة المفعول أنا تعبانين أكله أنا بس دارين إذا كان في طريقة كم قلة يعمل انصراف للناس عشان كل دول يرجع نتجادل الأيام بتاعه. أما ممكن الناس يعبر 4 سنين في المركز تجهزه تشنو أكون لا قادر أكون معايا لا قادر ما في لنا أي حاجة تشنو. دارين تكريج كوريجنا لو ما في عمل انصراف أساسنا بقوم بمشي مسافة 7 ساعات بقول بمشي بكتب غانا تمشي براسة تمشي في مال بقولوا توين تمشي في بعد تمر في 20 جبت غانا براسة لو مشيت هناك بمشي بالديولة بألف و500 تشيب مال الدورة بألف و300 ترجع بقولنا تاكل تنوم في يوم ده ألبس سوات عند بقوم تان ترجع مال غانا أنا عايشين من الطريقة دي.
In April last year, some soldiers at other training sites raised similar concerns and demanded that they return to their original assembling points since the government has failed to graduate them. The Chapter 2 of the Revitalized Peace Agreement requires the cantonment, screening and training of 83,000 necessary unified forces to safeguard the peace deal. According to the peace deal, unifying the forces will provide security guarantees for the transitional government of national unity, unlike in 2017 when the forces were divided. President Salva Kiir has blamed the failure of the country to prosper on the 5-year conflict. He made the remarks yesterday at the State House J1, where he hosted the Muslim community for an iftar breakfast. In his words, "We have spoiled our country," Kiir said. Many people who wanted to help South Sudan withdrew their support following the 2013 conflict. But now, the president said that the country is on the path of achieving total peace and calls for more efforts to safeguard it. He said this is to attract those who had good intentions to help South Sudan develop.
Nanu karabna balad bitana, and we must go back to our senses so that ma yakun fi harb بين الهلا وهلا أو بين القبائل أو بين الولايات. This is very important. We have seen that لما نحن وقعنا في الحرب بيناتنا كل promises الكان بودوا لنا وقفت كله وما في زول قدر إنه to deliver whatever he or she promised to give us. لأنه الناس بقول لو ودينا قروش بتاعنا ما ده قروش جدانا في الocean. But now that we have stopped fighting among ourselves, I believe that these people will come.
Among top government officials who partook in the breakfast were the first Vice President Dr. Riek Machar, Vice President for Service Cluster Hussein Abdelbagi, Presidential Advisor for Security Affairs Tut Gadluak, and Central Equatorial State Governor Emmanuel Adil. The South Sudan Butchers Union is threatening to lay down their tools over what they describe as unfair treatment by the authorities. The union had for numbers of times petitioned government to solve their problems, but they got deaf ears since 2020. It said the butchers, particularly those in Juba, were being charged with high taxes by several institutions, including authorities of Juba City Council for using their facilities. The group demanded that a land be allocated for them to set up an auction yard and a modern slaughterhouse. Bol Dutlual is the union chairperson. He said that they continued to operate on losses due to hefty taxes and fees being collected from them. Dutlual spoke to iReader in an exclusive interview yesterday.
فبقيت أنا ما قادرين نواصل أموال اللي كان عندنا في يدنا ينتهي في وقت ده. أنا بقيت شغالين في كسار عشان كده الجزائريين بقى بقول إنه لو مستمر بالطريقة ده أكير أننا نكالي ذبيحة بتاع البقر في مدينة جوبا. أننا كمسؤولين بنقول أخوما أننا متعجين في محلنا ودو دلها لهو. لو ما في معناته كلاهيا مالنا ذيل ما شيء كلي شغل ده. شيل غرو جلوا ناساها ونامجل بشيل حقه. نحن ما عندنا مكان مولد زراعي بتاع البقر كله زراعي مع دلالة ومع سلخانة حديثة كله ما عندنا.
In response, the mayor of Juba City Council is calling on the butchers not to lay down their tools as the matter is being addressed.
لكن مدينة جوبا بيك ما موجود اللي اسمه المساحات ذاته بتاعت السلاخانة ده له محل كبيرة. كنا عندنا سلاخانة هناك قريب في المحل كرة قدم هناك الاستاد جوبا محل صغيرة. قبل ما أنا يجي في الكرسي اللي جيت بين المحل ده غيروا للاسم سنة ده تاني لمنفعة آخر. يعني بيجينا ما عندنا أزين سنة ده في الفترة بتاعت الأخ ده كريستوفر سرافينو واني وكان عمل واحد جزارة أو سلاخانة في جبل هنا we want to visit it. Hal lisa henak wala wazao lezol ka watan ma maruf. Ashan kida nehina umbare gaadna. Nehina guna nehina hanshuf nehina naamil shunu kan naqdar nelga misaha لكن المدينة هنا كان في طرف بحر كان بيكون أرحم لنا ذاته هنا نحاول علينا وحتى مهل الأقصن أنا لأول مرة بقابل مشكلة بتاعهم عشان كده أنا برجو منهم إنه ما يخش في الإضراب لأنه نحن كحكومة نحن عليهم وهم علينا نحن لأنه بيقدم لنا الخدمة.
You are listening to iRadio 1 o'clock news bulletin. A high court in Juba has sentenced an official from the Agricultural Bank to 14 years imprisonment for embezzling funds. Ading Adugiar, the bank's financial controller, was found guilty of giving an uncovered check. Uncovered check is defined as a check that is dishonored on presentation because of insufficient funds or issuing a bad check in form of licensee. Early this month, the General Prosecutor Sabine Okoch petitioned the court against 6 officials from the Agricultural Bank over the alleged embezzlement of £290 million and $40,000. Prosecutor Sabino told iRadio that the fraud was discovered during an internal audit in the Agricultural Bank. On 21st of this month, the court acquitted 5 accused, namely Pashe James, the Agricultural Bank's branch manager in Juba, and Abraham Gwom, the financial controller. Others were Butrus Charles, Clement Agostino, and Madut. During a court verdict yesterday, Ading Adugiar, who was the only one left on trial, made a judicial confession of issuing uncovered check. He was convicted based on Section 351 of the South Sudan 2008 Penal Code, which, according to the law, is a criminal breach of trust by a public servant, banker, and merchant or agent. Duat Kulang, the High Court judge, made the ruling.
عدم سجن لمدة 2 سنين لمخالفة المادة 353 من قانون الرقابة سنة 2008. الأمر الثاني الغرامة المبلغ قدرها 500,000 جنيه وبالعدم السجن لمدة 2 سنة لمخالفة المادة 353 من قانون الرقابة سنة 2008.
And finally, before the international news, the IGAD Climate Prediction and Application Center has forecasted heavy to very heavy rainfall over 5 East African countries, including South Sudan, over the coming weeks. The ICPAC predicts that South Sudan, Somalia, southern Ethiopia, Burundi, and northwestern Tanzania will receive more than normal rainfall, around 100 millimeters. In contrast, less than normal rainfall is also expected over eastern parts of Kenya. Warmer than normal temperature will also be recorded in most parts of East Africa except for South Sudan, northern Uganda, and eastern Ethiopia. Meanwhile, dry and hot conditions of over 32 degrees Celsius are expected over much of Sudan, Eritrea, northern Ethiopia, and Djibouti, which might receive only 1 millimeters of rainfall, an equivalent of 1 liter per square meter. The Regional Climate Information Center also indicates that cold conditions of less than 20 degrees Celsius are expected over Rwanda, Burundi, central Ethiopia, Kenya, southern western Tanzania, as well as South Sudan. You are listening to iRadio 1 o'clock news bulletin, and now to the stories making headlines from the region and international scene. My colleague Kafuki Jada joins us, and this international news is brought to you by MTN.
1, 2, 3. 1 million. Yes, it's time to celebrate. MTN 2 million. MTN has reached over 2 million customers and still counting. Are you? With over 2 million subscribers, why won't you trust MTN?
To enter the draw, get an MTN SIM card today and get free 10 minutes every day for 3 months and 500 MB every month for 3 months. And on top of that, qualify to enter a draw to win 2 million SSP cash.
Sabi, what are you waiting for? Buy an MTN SIM card today and get to win 2 million SSP. Yes, when MTN says 2 million SSP, it's 2 million for one lucky Junubin. Second winner gets 200,000 SSP, 10 winners get 20,000 SSP, and others get lots of MTN branded prizes.
Join MTN, the biggest family in South Sudan, and enjoy such amazing offers.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Thank you. And now to the international news. There are reports that fighting has resumed in the city of Janina in the Sudanese region of Darfur, where at least 200 people have died over the weekend. Following a lull in the fighting on Tuesday, the sounds of heavy gun can once again be heard. Tension has been high between Arab nomads and members of the Mazalit community who have clashed over land for decades. On Sunday, members of the Janjaweed militant, backed up by paramilitary unit known as a Rapid Support Force, launched an attack on Janina. Elsewhere, Algeria has threatened to cut off its gas supply to Spain if any of it ends up in another country that is not specified in the contract. It said supplying the gas to a third destination would be a breach of contract between Algeria's state-owned Sonatrach and its Spanish customer. Spain has confirmed that it plans to ship gas to Morocco, but says that none of the gas will be of Algeria's origin. Algeria's threat comes amid a decision by Madrid to supply gas to Morocco in a reverse flow through a pipeline that links Spain via Morocco. And finally, Canada's parliament has anonymously condemned Russia's action in Ukraine as a genocide. The lawmakers agreed on Wednesday that there was a clear and ample evidence of systematic and massive war crimes against humanity by Russian troops. The presidents of Poland and the US have both labeled Russia's killing of civilians genocide, but other world leaders such as the president of France have stopped short of the term. International law defines genocide as the deliberate intent to destroy in a whole or in a part a national, ethnical, racial or religious group. Reporting for iRadio, Kafuki Jada.
Thank you, Kafuki Jada, for those international news. And now my colleague Alex Misogo joins us with the sports news.
Thanks, Yal. Let's begin with local sports. Yesterday, opening tournament of Zone 1 fixture in Awil ended 2-0 in favor of the home team, Modiria FC, who thrived over the visiting Al Ghazal FC from Wau. The match is part of the ongoing South Sudan National League 2021-2022. Both Obul, Mo and the Ngok squad to secure a clean sheet win over the away opponents. The next Zone 1 match slated for today is Tiger FC of Kwajok against Zalani FC of Rumbek in Awel Freedom Square. On the second game of Zone 2 tournament, Mission FC of Yei beats Yambio Star of Yambio 2-1 in Juba's Blue Training Center. Alex Tambwa of Yambio Star FC netted the first goal, which was cancelled by a goal from Alison Nicholas in the 39 minutes of the first half before Kenneth Juma scored to seal the win for Mission FC. The other games in Zone 3 is also expected to kick off today in Malakal town after the opening between Tadamon FC and Imatong FC was postponed yesterday due to unclear reasons. In international sports, Liverpool took a giant stride towards another Champions League final with a commanding victory over Villarreal at Anfield. Jurgen Klopp's quadruple chasing Reds had to demonstrate patience to break down a Villarreal side, well organized by European specialist Unai Emery. Liverpool were held at bay despite creating all the chances and needed a touch of fortune to break the deadlock after 53 minutes. Sadio Mane increased Liverpool's control when he touched Mohamed Salah's pass beyond Rauli 2 minutes later. The second leg in Villarreal is still to come next Tuesday, but Liverpool now look firm on course to meet either Manchester City or Real Madrid in the final in Paris in May. And finally, NBA superstar Stephen Curry and the Giants demonstrated their talents once again by leading their respective teams to series clinching playoff wins on Wednesday. Curry scored 30 points in his first start of the playoffs as the Golden State Warriors earned their place in the Western Conference semifinals. The Warriors won 102 points to 98 against the Denver Nuggets, securing a 4-1 victory. Giants scored 33 points as the Bucks beat the Chicago Bulls. The Bucks earned a 116 points to 100 win over the visiting Bulls to reach the Eastern Conference semifinals, where they will play the Boston Celtics. That's all from the world of sport, and back to you in the studio, Yara Jack. My name is Alex Misoga, and thanks for listening.
Thank you, Alex, for those sports news. And now to end this news bulletin, here is a recap of the main headlines again. The inspector of police in Nimli town says 4 people were killed in recent cattle-related incident in Jalay area. Some soldiers at Mapel Training Center in Western Barkazal State are calling on the government to send them home to cater for their families since their graduation is taking long. And President Salva Kiir has blamed the failure of the country to prosper on the 5-year conflict. That's the end of iRadio Afternoon News. You can also get these stories and updates by subscribing to iRadio News Alert on your MTN South Sudan number. Call 700-700# and follow the instructions. If there is a story or an event you would like iRadio to cover or report about, please send us a text message on +211 925 287 870. It is also our WhatsApp number. Follow us on Twitter at iRadio Juba, like our Facebook page iRadio, subscribe to our YouTube channel iRadio South Sudan, and watch our comprehensive interviews. You can also visit our website and listen to us online at www.iradio.org. Stay tuned for the news in Arabic at 1:30. I am Yar Ajak Deng. Thank you for listening.